So this entire month of May, Spirit has been guiding our way in the exploration of a deeply felt call within all of us, hopefully, within all, to connect with, to commune with, and to be in conscious union with a power that is so much greater than we can even imagine. This power of good, this power of God. And when we answer this call, when we answer the call, we are drawn or move into the mystic. So we have been talking about the mystic. And when we move into the mystic, we become living embodiments of Spirit. Here we are on earth, living embodiments of the great I am. And in this month of moving into the mystic, we have explored the importance of consciously diving into the realization that we are all part of this infinite whole, the great I am. And this is from Neville Goddard, an incredible New Thought writer. A mystic, he says, is not a mysterious person, but is one who has a deep inner sense of life and his or her unity with the whole. A mystic is one who senses the atmosphere of the divine in, as, around, and through all that is, and knows that as infinite as is God, God is equally very, very personal to all who feel his indwelling presence. And we've said that in so many different ways. We consciously claim ourselves to be that which we seek, to be that which we seek. We too will know the stature of a true mystic. And we've acknowledged that in the world where we are being pulled, it feels like, and tugged, we are, in so many different directions by so many different things going on all at the same time. Not only in our outer life, but in our inner life as well, our emotions. Our emotions they affect the way we show up in this world, with our duties, responsibilities. And this inner world of emotion it could be hurt and anger. And cultivating the sweet, sacred space within us, where it is the place of the I am. We are so much more than our emotions, so much more than all the conditions and circumstances that exist. We are more, and nobody told us that. And nobody told us that. But we are. We are. I'm telling all of us, including myself, that. But when we cultivate our connection with the infinite, especially in the times when all these different conditions might be occurring, we cultivate an intention in the silence, in prayer, by making conscious choices to cultivate it even when it might seem difficult or challenging. It may come bursting forth in us in the form of intuition. That's the beauty of these teachings, is that we develop this intuitive knowing within us. And so when we make decisions, I know for me anymore, it's when I make a decision, that's a power within me that knows the highest good, usually. When I listen to it, that's the trick, is to listen to it. It's the discipline. And now we're bringing into the mystic, which we all are, by the way, month. We're bringing this mystic month to a close by exploring the concept of piercing the veil of this one. To live from that place on an ongoing existence basis. To always remember there is a power greater than I am. Conditions are always passing. And the separation is the veil. It's the veil, and I love this affirmation. Listen to this affirmation. As I intentionally caught the divine presence, I pierced the veil of separation and experience myself as an individualized center of God consciousness. I am one with the power of God, and it flows in and through me now. It is the presence of my real and true self. I am forever one with life. I am forever one with love. Great affirmation. I am forever one with life. I am forever one with love. So as we intentionally court the divine presence, we pierce that veil of separation. That's what the veil is. So we're going to get into that today and wind it up. We are an individualized center in God consciousness. And we're forever one with life. And that is what we are going to do today in a couple of very powerful, extremely important ways. But let's talk right now for a moment about the veil. The veil of separation. What's up with that anyway? The heck is the veil of separation? I never heard that before. Well, it's there, and we're going to use that today. The root of much of our difficulty is in the fact that we tend to identify ourselves with the mind, the body, our emotions, conditions. That's who we are. We think. We tend to look at circumstances in our lives, to look at what's going on in our bodies, in our affairs, in our hearts, and in our heads. And we think, we say to ourselves, it's real, because it feels real. It's real. This is the reality. This is reality. Face it. I mean, you hear that growing up? This is the real world. No, it's not. I beg to differ. I beg to differ. In our hearts and in our heads, we say that it's real, but it's truly not. And at the level of our humanity, of course it is. Because we're spiritual beings having the human experience, so we honor those emotions. We don't try to sweep them away. We honor them. And we have compassion for ourselves. We need to have compassion for ourselves in life. We don't deny any of the stuff that's going on or minimize the impact it can have on all of us. And at the same time, all these conditions are taking place, and we are more than that. We are more than that. So much more than any condition. We have bodies, but we are not our bodies. The body may be in a different condition of health or sickness, rest or tired, but that has nothing to do with the real self. We have a mind, but we are not our minds. We are not our minds. Our minds may take us on sometimes interesting journeys, and it may seem like we have no choice. You hear people say that. We have no control over them. But this is simply not true. It's not. The real you is beyond the mind. It's beyond all conditions. We have emotions, but we are not our emotions. Our emotions may fluctuate, but the true nature of who we are remains constant. It's constant. It never changes. We may have strong feelings about things, but we are not those feelings. Not really. There is something much, much more than we are. We are much, much deeper than our feelings at any given moment. We have experiences and conditions in our lives, but we are not our experiences and our conditions. We may like some of them, and we may not like a lot of them. Yet, they cannot touch our true self. That's what this teaching is all about. We are so much more than we think that we are. So it's really important for us to know. It's a gift. It's such a gift to know that there is a power for good and That's right where I am. That power is always guiding and loving me. When we identify solely or in great proportion with the mind, the body, the emotions or conditions, we weave a tighter veil. Remember, it is the veil of separation. We know there is no separation in God. It is infinite wholeness. We are eternal beings of the one Creator. There is no separation. And every time we get caught up in our conditions, circumstances, emotions, thoughts, or physical states of our bodies, we move into a sense of separation. Bring God into the pain. Bring God into the illness, because that's how you heal. Charles Fillmore wrote this in his talks on truth. We see only form and make God a personal being located in a city of dimensions. This belief of separateness leads to ignorance, because all intelligence is derived from the one mind. And when the soul thinks itself something alone, it cuts itself off in consciousness from the font of inspiration. When we believe ourselves, he says, to be separate from our source, we lose sight of the divine harmony. We are like a musical note standing alone, looking upon the other notes, but having no definite place upon the great staff of nature, the great symphony of life. We're part of a symphony of life, which is a note, or a note. And even though we know this, most of us, piercing the veil may not come easily. For most of us, since we've been under this influence of thinking for so many, many, many years. It's a tyranny, it's a tyranny of our minds, our bodies, our very beings. How many of us have been under this tyranny of one of these in the last 24 hours? I have a silly little condition, but it shows you how we can go into thinking that things are real. So, I haven't watched TV in a couple of weeks. I like to watch TV once. I love TV. I never get to watch TV, so I get to watch TV. Steve's away. So, I get all set up there. I got my sparkling water. I got myself all ready. A little blanket on me. Turn it on, and there's that wonderful. It's like a painting that comes up and says, "You are not connected." I'm like, what do you mean I'm not connected? There's one power, one source, right? Not connected. Not connected. I'm pretty good with TVs, but not with wires and stuff. And then I realized I got to make that dreaded call. Comcast. Oh, yeah. Come on. An hour with Comcast is still, that painting is up there with no connection. And it's like, okay, 10 phone calls, they call me back like for the next 24 hours, like 10, 12 times, texted me, sent me emails. Seriously, they got a technician coming, this whole thing. I'm like, you know what? I moved on to something else, but it shows you how quickly we can get caught up in a simple thing like, I just want to put the TV on, you know, and sit down for 1 hour and watch TV. But God, the real source, the real connection, had other plans, so I did something else. But it shows you how, like, we can go from, and I just finished writing my talks, so I'm, like, totally in a spiritual place. That's what happens. But here's some good news about the path of the mystic. It's progress, not perfection. Remember that. It's always going to be a work of art, like on my TV, in progress, always. I remember the story I told last week about the truth seeker who gathered other truth seekers. And they wanted to go sit, they traveled for years, they wanted to go sit at the feet of these great mystics. And the journey was arduous and long, But they finally made it, and they were ecstatic. They were here. The mystics are there. And when they arrived, they went into the room and saw the robed, hooded masters sitting around a table. And it made the long, difficult journey worthwhile. When they neared the robed, hooded mystics, they made a discovery. At first, they were terribly disappointed. What was it? The robes were empty. We had the story last week. And then one of the travelers realized that they were to put on the robes because they were the mystics that they had been seeking. Do you think that during that long, arduous journey, they may have had some disagreements about how they should go, which direction, how much they should walk in one day, which road they should take, whether they should stop or keep going? Do you suppose any of those things and more came up? They're humans. Did you think the long, arduous journey had anything to do with their true ability to put on the robes? Remember, it's a journey. Could it be, in fact, that it was in this journey, in this process of their lives, that they became mystical? They became the mystic. And remember, we say this, and we remember that life is a journey, not a destination, always. Like progress and perfection. It's the same thing. It's a destination. It's a journey. And I love the story of a group of women who were in a Bible study, and they were studying this one passage by Malachi. He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. And as most of the Bible, I have no idea what anything means. But, okay, so what does that mean? They didn't even know. This verse puzzled all of these women in this Bible study group. And they wondered out loud what this statement could mean about God. One of the women offered to find out the process of refining silver and get the group back and get back to the group at their next meeting. That week, the woman called a silversmith and made an appointment to watch him make silver, or not make it, but refine it. She didn't mention anything about the reason why she was there. As she watched the silversmith, he held a piece of silver over the fire, and he let it heat up. He explained that in refining silver, you need to hold the silver in the middle of the fire where the flames are the hottest to burn away all the impurities. The woman thought about that. Sometimes we need to be held in hot spots, she thought. And the verse said, he sits as a refiner and purifier of silver. She asked the silversmith if he had to sit there in front of the fire the whole entire time. And the man answered, yes, not only do I have to sit here holding the silver, but I have to keep my eye on the silver the entire time it is in the fire. If the silver is left for a moment too long, it could be ruined. The woman was silent for a moment. And then she asked the silversmith, well, how do you know when it's refined and ready? He smiled and he answered, oh, that's easy, when I can see my face in it. It is through the fire. It is through the journey, through the image of the divine, that we move forward in life as a mystic. When we can see our face in all things, because the infinite is in everyone, all of the time. To pierce the veil and to fully get in touch with spirit, we must move through and many different things, but one of them is fasting. Yeah? So you hear people go on all kinds of retreats and they fast. That's why I don't go on retreats. I want to suggest this morning, this is good fasting. You don't have to give up food. I suggest this morning that we fast not from food, but rather we fast and feast on this journey through of experiences like this. Fasting from judging ourselves and others, and feasting on the great I am dwelling in you and others. Fasting from apparent darkness and feasting on the reality of the light. Fasting from pessimism and feasting on optimism. Fasting from thoughts of illness and feast on the wholeness that is God. Fast from words that pollute and feast on phrases that purify. Fast from anger and feast on understanding. Fast from worry and feast on divine providence. Fast from unrelenting pressures and feast on unceasing prayer. Fast from, this is a good one, fast from complaining. Yeah, right? And feast on appreciation. Fast from bitterness and feast on forgiveness. Fast from anxiety and feast on hope. Fast from ego and feast on love. And this last one is critically important. Because in the words of New Thought giant Emmett Fox, this is what he wrote. I love this too. This is what Emmett Fox, incredible if you want to read any, he's phenomenal. There is no difficulty that enough love will not conquer. No disease that enough love will not heal. No door that enough love will not open. No gulf that enough love won't bridge. No wall that enough love will not throw open. No sin that enough love will not redeem. It makes no difference how deeply seated may be the trouble, how hopeless the outlook, how muddled the tangle, how great the mistake. A sufficient realization of love will dissolve it all. If only you could have enough love, you would be the happiest, most powerful person in the world. So good. And I told you earlier that we're going to pierce this veil and also in a very powerful, extremely important way. I'm going to do it right now. And so I ask you to just close your eyes for a moment. This won't be long. It'll be just lovely. Just take that deep breath, that wonderful breath of life, and ask yourself, how could you pierce your life? How could you in your life pierce the veil with greater love? How could we love even greater? So we're going to explore this. So I want you to think of yourself. What do you think about yourself in an unlovable manner? What part, what aspect of you? And just see that part of yourself saturated and covered with pure love, pure beauty. And think of an experience that you deem unlovable, completely unlovable, an experience in your life. And then see that experience completely resolved, divinely resolved in ways you could never have imagined. And think now of a person in your life that you might be having difficulty with. Really hard to love this person. You just see that relationship in harmony. Just see the highest good unfolding for you in this situation. Just know that you are pure love. You are the healing force within your own life. Take a breath and come on back. And remember what Emmett Fox said. He wrote, "There is no difficulty that enough love could not conquer. A sufficient realization of love will dissolve it all. If only you had enough love, you could be the happiest, most powerful person in the world." I truly feel that we have put on the ropes and we have pierced the veil of separation this whole month. We realize that we are connected to a source of good that is so beyond our human comprehension. And that we move into the state of that kind of love, divine love, because we do know that only divine love heals, truly. And we start to move into embracing the mystic that each and every one of us truly is. And so it is.